Tonight, a stunning escalation from Donald Trump has thrown Portland, Oregon into the center of a national storm. On Truth Social, Trump announced he is sending in federal troops to what he calls war-ravaged Portland, authorizing, in his own words, full force if necessary. He claims it comes at the request of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, has been directed to mobilize all necessary forces. Yet Pentagon officials admit they were blindsided by this announcement. No formal orders, no clear details on the size of the deployment, not even clarification on what kind of troops would be involved. This is not just a Portland issue. It is a question of whether a president can deploy soldiers into American cities against the wishes of state and local leaders. The mayor of Portland has already pushed back, calling the move unwanted, unneeded, and un-American. Senator Jeff Merkley warns that Trump is deliberately trying to manufacture fear and provoke riots in order to justify authoritarian control. And here is the key. The data tells a very different story than the one Trump is presenting. Portland's murder rate is down by 50% year over year, one of the sharpest drops of any major city in America. Local officials say the city is calmer now than it has been in years. Yet the White House insists the city is under siege from Antifa and other so-called domestic terrorists. This battle over Portland is not happening in isolation. We've seen this playbook before. In Los Angeles earlier this year, federal troops arrived without state approval, sparking a legal challenge. In Chicago, strong pushback from local leaders forced the administration to back down. Each time the justification is framed as law and order, but the legal foundation is shaky at best. The Posse Comitatus Act limits the role of active duty military in domestic law enforcement. National Guard troops could be used differently, but only if federalized, and that too faces constitutional challenges. This is why Trump's move is so explosive. It doesn't just test Portland, it tests the boundaries of American democracy itself. Officials in Oregon say they were given no heads up. Senator Merkley describes an emergency meeting last night with state leaders, bracing for hundreds of troops to flood the streets. That didn't happen. But the threat alone is destabilizing. Local leaders worry that even the suggestion of a troop deployment could spark unrest, setting off the very chaos Trump claims he wants to prevent. And that is the danger, because this is not protection, it's provocation. Consider what's at stake internationally. While Trump is mobilizing forces domestically, his administration is ignoring real foreign policy crises. Just days from now, Trump is scheduled to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, after Netanyahu faced mass walkouts at the United Nations over accusations of ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Senator Merkley and others have already warned that the U.S. risks complicity if it does not stand firm on human rights. Yet Trump appears more focused on turning American cities into battlegrounds than on shaping global policy. Allies and rivals alike are watching this carefully. If the U.S. president normalizes using troops against his own citizens, what message does that send about the rule of law? Domestically, this move also collides with the looming government shutdown. In just 3 days, funding could run out if Congress and the White House don't strike a deal. Trump canceled meetings with Democratic leaders earlier this week, but will now host them at the White House. Senator Merkley has been clear. Democrats will not accept another partisan resolution. They demand constitutional control over federal spending and push back against what they call Trump's attempts to sidestep Congress. Healthcare is also on the line, with premium hikes of up to 65% expected if subsidies are not addressed. That means thousands of dollars more per family. At the same time, Medicaid faces cuts in the next budget cycle. The bigger picture is about power. A president who can deploy troops domestically, dictate spending, and frame opposition as terrorists gains extraordinary leverage. That's why Portland matters far beyond Oregon. Because if Trump can do it there, he can do it anywhere. The lessons of history are clear. After Reconstruction, Congress passed the Posse Comitatus Act to ensure no president could use the military for domestic control. The Supreme Court has repeatedly struck down attempts by presidents to cancel or redirect funding outside congressional approval. But Trump's approach pushes against these guardrails. He creates the crisis, then declares himself the solution. That is the cycle. Chaos, crackdown, control. So what happens next? All eyes are now on the Pentagon, which insists no formal orders have been issued. Governors across the country are watching closely, knowing their own cities could be next. And the next 48 hours could decide whether Portland sees boots on the ground or whether this is another political stunt. Either way, the implications are profound. America must decide if federal troops can patrol city streets without local consent or if the constitutional checks still hold. This is the breaking point where politics meets the Constitution, and it is where the future of American democracy is quietly being tested. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation in the comments. What do you think? Is Trump protecting cities or provoking chaos? Stay tuned here for more exclusive updates as this unprecedented story develops.